Joe Reinagel, Jason Minix, The Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is The Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He is Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. You know, yesterday on the show, and it was late in the show.
Yeah.
Whatever we were talking about, you know, something comes across the social, and there's Dak Prescott, and he's wearing a hat, and it's got Dallas upside down backwards. And well, Joe, you were questioning it. You've never seen Dak wearing those or some of those others?
I haven't.
Sometimes I really wish you would join us in 2023.
Well, I wish somebody would make something that actually catches my eye. Why the hell do you put Dallas upside down? What's the point of doing that?
Well, the hat maker is one former Dallas Cowboys quarterback, Ben DiNucci, who joins us now that might be able to answer that question. Ben, how's your Friday?
What's going on, guys? I appreciate you letting me join you. My Friday is good. How's your guys' Friday?
It's going well and better now. And so, I mean, Joe had questions about your hat designs.
Yeah, Ben, I didn't mean it. You know, I mean, it's like I see this thing and it's Dallas upside down. Can you explain to me why you did that?
Yeah, Joe, listen, I know you're old and you might not get some of the hip stuff that's in trendy right now, but no, my business in 2020, at the beginning of COVID, when the world felt, you know, quote unquote, upside down. And his whole thing was, it was kind of what the world was going through and what everyone was kind of living in, and decided to flip Dallas upside down. It made a few hats look good. They sold out instantly. And he was like, wow, might be onto something here. Kept doing it. And 6 months later, I got drafted to the Cowboys, and he just shot me a DM out of the blue and said, hey man, I've got this brand. I got some hats. I'd just love to get some in your hand. I took them, wore them, and literally the first time I wore them around the facility. Guys like, hey man, what's up with that hat? That's kind of cool. And one thing led to another. We became business partners, and it's kind of been the rest has been history since then.
So Ben, you're saying I'm not in the age group for that hat? I mean, if I was to wear that hat around town, I wouldn't be the right demographic.
Hey, we don't discriminate. So I mean, if you want to rock one, go ahead. But I mean, if you sounds like you might be hating a little bit. So.
Oh, man. All right. So it's a cool story the way it started, and obviously you're wearing it around the facility. Dak started wearing it. Other teammates started wearing it, and it blows off. From and not to get too personal, but are you making more selling hats now than you did while you were in the NFL?
I can't answer that question, but be blowing my cover a little bit there. But it's been pretty cool, honestly, just to see the kind of organic growth that this thing is kind of had. I think I realized pretty soon that if you put, you know, a Dallas Cowboys star on anything, or Dak Prescott wears something, it's like, how do I get that, and how fast can I get it? So we were actually on Hard Knocks at the beginning of training camp last year, and as soon as I found out that we were going to be on that, I was like, shoot, this is a perfect opportunity for me to have some eyes on the brand, have some eyes on the hat. And sure as heck, that's kind of what did it. I had a few clips in Hard Knocks where it was about me, and I was playing Micah Parsons in chess and had one of them on, and all of a sudden our Shopify store just starts getting lit up on a random Tuesday night. And I was like, what the heck's going on? And then I realized Hard Knocks was on, so I figured that the hat must have been on there somewhere. So it's been pretty cool to see the growth over the past, I guess, year and a half.
Now, Ben, I mean this with all due respect, and I mean that, but the upside down Dallas, like when you're wearing that hat around town, do you have to explain why Dallas is upside down?
I would say, again, this is not to be rude or anything, but people in your age demographic probably are the ones that are like, hey, what's up with your hat, man? Like, isn't like upside down like something bad, like horns down or something like that, you know? But I mean, I'm in the grocery store. I was at HEB the other day, and the guy behind me was like, hey man, I've seen those hats everywhere, but like, why are they upside down? And then as soon as I tell people the story, they're kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like it. So, I mean, it's a conversation piece, and that's half the battle. As long as you can get people to kind of talk about it and ask about it, I guess then people kind of come around to the idea of liking it. So.
Ben DiNucci joining us here on the Blitz. An incredible small business success story is what it's turning into, and the fact that you've got to deal with the Cowboys, and knowing Jerry Jones, he probably didn't cut you much slack on getting the usage of the star, right?
Hey, Joe. First off, I'm just pulling your chain with all this stuff. So
Hey, you can tell.
You're all right.
Hey, Ben, tell
You're
Joe
good.
all the time, get off my lawn.
Absolutely.
We say that 3 times a day.
all right, cool. Well, I'll throw a few of them in the rest of the interview. But we didn't actually have any interaction with Jerry, so that was the whole marketing side handled that. I think it was the Dallas Cowboys merchandise group, and they were pretty much on board from day one. I mean, they'd seen just guys wearing them around the facility and wearing them in press conferences last year, and they're like, "Well, these things are selling. Why the heck aren't we doing something with them?" So it was kind of it was really easy to get a collab going with them. Didn't take much convincing on our end, and didn't take much convincing on their end. So it was worked out really well. We've had a collab with the Dallas Mavericks as well, and then we've got a collab with Dak Prescott, and the Dallas Stars that are supposed to be dropping here within the next month and a half as well. So some exciting stuff that's happening.
Sure. Ben, all kidding aside, honestly, I didn't know what it meant, and I saw it, and it was like, what the hell is that? But I like success stories, and so if you guys are successful, I think that's great, and you had a great idea. So,
look, he's going to order one now too.
I probably will. I really like the baby blue. It was baby blue. I was looking at all of them yesterday, so you probably see me sporting one from now on. Ben, I gotta go ahead.
I appreciate it.
No. I got to ask you this question as we get a little serious about football. You got the Cowboys' final regular season game coming up, and then the playoffs. How does Dak in that quarterback room? How did you guys approach this time of year?
I mean, it sounds kind of cliche, but I guess it's just business as usual, right? It's just another game. I think the teams that try to kind of make it more than it really needs to be are the ones that have trouble going into December, January. And Coach McCarthy would always say, as long as those guys are playing the best ball at the end of the year, I mean, we should be all right. And that seems to be what the Cowboys are doing right now. I mean, Dak's playing at a really high level. He's kind of always been the guy in that place that's the leader, the central voice, and kind of, nothing really else needs to be said. When he walks into a room, it's all eyes on all ears, and you know exactly where he's at all points. And he is just an unbelievable dude, an unbelievable leader, and an unbelievable teammate. So it's, anytime you got that guy as your leader, I think you're in pretty good shape. So I have no worries about the Cowboys here in the next coming weeks.
Ben DiNucci joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. And you spent so much time with Dak Prescott in the quarterback room. We all see what Dak is like, and you see the numbers, and you know what it's like with the Cowboys fans and sports talk radio and the different debate shows. I mean, Dak can go out there and be 21-27, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and all anybody wants to talk about are the 2 interceptions. And I say that because I know the callers to this show, and I spend a lot of time defending Dak. How does Dak deal with the criticism when he's played one hell of a game, but he had 1 or 2 bad throws?
I don't think he pays any attention to that stuff. I don't think he's really very active at all on social media. If it is, it's him promoting stuff that he does stuff with. I mean, Dak's been around it long enough to understand that everyone's got a job to do, right? Journalists, sports reporters, all those people got to make money and got to make stories too. So I mean, Dak is very, very level-headed in that manner. I mean, he is just strictly business all the time, and I don't think it's pretty evident when you go watch him play week to week that stuff doesn't necessarily affect him much at all.
And the fact that, like the Philadelphia game early on, throws a pick 6 and he forgets it immediately. So Ben, I need you to help us out. You're a professional quarterback, played with the Cowboys, now in the XFL, going to be with the Seattle Sea Dragons. Quarterbacks will always take all the responsibility, at least the good teammate type quarterbacks, when there's an interception. For us fans that are watching on TV and there was an interception and you look at it and you wonder, did the receiver run the right route? Or what are some things that we can look for as fans where we could say, yeah, that one might not have been on the quarterback?
Yeah, it's tough to see on TV. And honestly, I've had a pretty different perspective these past few months watching from my couch instead of on the sideline too. I mean, you can't see the whole play on TV. You can't see guys running their routes or defenders or any of that stuff. So I would say, I don't know. Generally, where there's 2 guys in the same spot, somebody ran the wrong route. I always just kind of look for when the quarterback releases the ball and where the receiver's at kind of in his route is kind of another telltale. And I mean, sometimes interceptions just happen. Quarterbacks are going to make bad throws. I mean, it's football, so everyone's not perfect. I mean, that stuff's going to happen as part of the game. But I would say just for the most part, when you got more than one guy in the same spot, and then just, I mean, when a quarterback releases the ball before a receiver's out of his break or trusting something, I mean, guys on defense get paid to make plays too. So.
Well, let me ask you this, Ben, because I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but like when a ball bounces off Noah Brown's hands and into the other guy's arms and he runs for a touchdown, is that pretty good indication that it might not have been Dak's fault?
Yeah, I think that is telltale that it's not the quarterback's fault. Yeah, but I mean that's one that even still Dak probably walks up the sideline and says, "Hey, Noah, that's on me. I could have thrown it better." I mean, it's always quarterback. If you're a good quarterback and a good leader, you're always going to take the blame regardless. Always got to have next play mentality and kind of be able to right the ship regardless of what's going on. So, listen, I mean, if a receiver yelled at a quarterback for every time that a quarterback made a bad throw too, there'd be a lot of yelling going on the sideline. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, the Cowboys have definitely had a few of those this year. There was one last week too that hit off Peyton Hendershot's chest right down the middle and bounced into a receiver's arm. So a few of those that Dak have had this year have been just unfortunate, and I mean that's part of the game too. So I mean it's kind of a give and take. So
Ben DiNucci joining us here on the Blitz, selling a whole bunch of hats with Dallas upside down. I knucklehead question, but will you venture into other cities?
That is a question that I've been asked a bunch. I think right now it's not currently in the plans. Who knows? The brand may shift in a year or two, and we may venture into that. I think we're trying to definitely get away from not necessarily get away from Dallas, but create a few more logos that don't necessarily have to deal with Dallas, so that people just like the brand or like the hats they can purchase. But I definitely have had a ton of questions about, hey, flip Pittsburgh upside down or flip Miami or Tampa or, whatever upside down. So,
San Antonio.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never say never, but it's currently not necessarily in the plans currently.
All right, Ben, I got to ask you this too, because I covering you at training camp with the Dallas Cowboys, which Jason and I do all the time. But I love saying your name, man. Ben DiNucci. I mean, that's one of those names that it's just like, hey, Ben DiNucci. I mean, it's just, do you get that all the time, or am I the only knucklehead that does that?
No, I get it all the time. It's just a good old fashioned Italian last name that is pretty unique. And once you hear it once, it's kind of hard to unhear. I mean, I get it all the time in Dallas. I'm walking around downtown with my girlfriend or something, and somebody will be like, DiNucci, and I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, exactly.
But, no, I guess in a way that helps though, right? It helps the brand if you got a recognizable guy that's kind of at the front of it, and people know my last name and associate it with that, then so be it. So I mean, I'm all for it.
If DiNucci was on the menu at an Italian restaurant, what would be the dish?
I don't know. Probably a DiNucci. I don't know. Probably some pasta with I don't even know, all the meat possible. I mean,
and a good red wine.
And a good red wine and like a slice of cheesecake for dessert. Maybe
nice.
The whole thing, the DiNucci or so. Yeah, it sounds
nice.
Got a nice ring to it.
could be the next adventure. Ben DiNucci.
Hey, there we go.
Good luck in the XFL. I know. I guess San Antonio will root for you, except for the week that you guys play the Brahmas.
I appreciate it, guys. Joe, I'll make sure to stay off your lawn.
Hey, Ben, thanks, man. Thanks for being a good sport, man. I had fun. Thank you.
Had to drop it.
You're good.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.